Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our 2018 Veterans Day program. Our purpose for coming together this evening is to celebrate America and to show our appreciation to our veterans and people who are still serving in the military. We would also like to recognize members of our fire, police, and EMS departments for their service. Please stand if you have or are currently serving our country, and please remain standing until a student gives you a token of our appreciation. All of our veterans and service workers, please stand. I would like to welcome a brief speaker for this evening, Lieutenant Colonel Shalem H. David.
I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me, first off, to celebrate Veterans Day with you. It's an honor and a privilege. And I want to begin by a little demonstration here. Here I have a simple paper bag here. And it's nondescript. Empty by some account, and yet it contains many things. And I'm going to ask you if you know what's in the bag. It's ruffling around there. I don't know. What's in the bag?
Air.
Air's in the bag?
Air.
Are you sure?
Air.
Are you positive?
Yeah.
Let me give you another go. Hold on. Here we go. Nothing on the bottom? What is it? Is it money? Okay. I got you. You think it's nothing in the bag? That was merely a demonstration about life. Life is what you make it. While it seems empty on the inside, you have a blank landscape to make it anything that you want it. And so this evening, what I want to talk to you about is women in combat, because this is the trending thing in our Army in this day and age, in our military, as a matter of fact, and women are making great strides. And we have some in our audience, as you can see, who have accompanied me. They're here. And as you can see on the first slide, it says women in combat. My mommy wears combat boots. Who's ever heard of that one? Maybe it was your mommy who wears combat boots, right? And I'm pretty sure we have some students here whose mommy wears combat boots. Just want to say thank you again. Next slide. So, why women? Well, we have women in the military, and women have been making great strides. They started out as the Nurses Corps during World War I, and they also enlisted during that time as well. And why do you think women enlisted into the Army? Any thoughts? Go ahead. To fight for the country, absolutely. And they have been supporting the country as long as men have been fighting for the country. And they wanted to extend their service by also enlisting into the military. So we have enlisted women in the military, and we also have officers in the military who are women. And that's a real help to the force overall. As you know, there are about 1% of average citizens who serve in the Army or in the military. And with those numbers, with the population being roughly about 323 million, think about it. There's only 1% that serves and is willing to serve in the military to protect the borders of our nation and our interests abroad. So it's a major task, but it's one that not only men, but mainly women, as is the focus this evening, have signed up to do. And when all of the men went to war in World War I, World War II, who was it that was backfilling all of the traditional roles that were held by men? Exactly, it was women. And when you think about it, when the men are fighting for their country overseas, we may need women as well in those roles and capacities. So as women enlisted into the Army or the military, they continue to expand their roles in the military. And not until recently, last year, they were authorized to serve in combat roles, which is a major feat for women. Now, some might think that that's not a role for women. Well, a lot of women would disagree with you, which is why they've made great strides to serve in combat roles. They are fully capable and just as capable as men. Next slide. Women are still family-oriented, so that's not to say that they aren't women. They are women, they're still women. And although they serve in those capacities, they're still family-oriented, they're still mothers, they're still daughters. So it's not to take anything away from their feminism, they're still women, but they just serve in an expanded role based off of their desires and their capabilities. So they're fully qualified. Next slide. So they're highly capable, again, just as men, so they're expert, or can be, expert marksmen. They can serve in various capacities, whether it's a ranger regiment, whether it's an engineer battalion, whether it's an infantry unit, or whatever the case may be. The bottom line is that they are just as capable, if not more in some cases, as men. Next slide. So women are a combat multiplier. When we serve in expanded roles overseas, for instance, our best opportunity to engage with the public is with women, especially when we're trying to gather intelligence. So as you can see on the slide here, it's a picture which includes a woman in a combat uniform. But again, they are a combat multiplier because in order for us to, sometimes when men are engaging with men, as you know from your own I would say clique or your own friends, for instance, there's different discussions that are had between men as opposed to women, right? We just talk about different things. Like guys might be more interested in sports, women are gonna talk about the kitchen, cooking, and the kids, right? The conversation is just different. But all of it makes up a picture of the culture of that environment. So as a result, you have women in expanded roles or in locations such as that, so that as the Army or the military is trying to win hearts and minds of the populace, because largely that's what it's all about, your ability to influence the public, we use women in those capacities, and they are not only a combat multiplier, but very instrumental in those roles. Without them, we would not be able to achieve as much as we do or have the intelligence that we do. Next slide. Here's a picture of Army Ranger, Captain Sidney Jaquez. And when you think about Ranger School, for those that may be a little bit aware of what Ranger School all entails, it's not an easy school. It's not just a regular school that we go through when you enlist into the military. It's not just a regular officer school that you go to. This is much more rigorous, much more detailed, meticulous, oriented on the job and the task that you may face. And that includes being out in the wilderness all alone. How do you survive? So accomplishing this task is a major feat, not just for a man, but especially for a woman. Although equal, all things are not created equal. We know that men are physically, more often than not, stronger than women. But nevertheless, women are capable, and here's a shining example of that capability. And that's all I have to present for you today. Thank you for your attention.
At this time, we would like to invite everyone to please rise and remove your hats as the Cub Scout Pack and Boy Scout Troop 600 lead us in the presentation of the colors.
Color guard attention.
Color guard advance.
Color guard, prepare to post the colors.
Post the colors.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
A pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We now ask you for a moment of silence for those who have lost their lives serving others. Thank you.
Color guard dismissed.
Please remain standing as our students sing our state song, My Old Kentucky Home.
Invite Haley Coles to recite the preamble of the Constitution.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
I would like to invite members of percussion ensemble and rocket choir down for our next song. We will be performing the song Bells of Liberty. During the song, I will be recognizing each branch of the military. Please stand when your branch is acknowledged during our song. Please stand if you are able, if you served our country in the Army or the Army Reserve. Is most active in air and space, and is the youngest of our country's armed forces. Please stand if you are able, if you served our country in the Air Force or the Air National Guard. Having a powerful navy is also a way to prevent war. Chairman to come forward to recite a quote. After she is finished, all students will sing "My Country 'Tis of Thee."
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Abraham Lincoln, Gettysburg Address.
I would like to invite the percussion ensemble back down to perform. Before we perform, Kendall Lambert will read a quote. Once she is finished, the percussion ensemble will perform the song "When Johnny Comes Marching Home."
Veterans are a symbol of what makes our nation great. We must never forget all they have done to ensure our freedom. Ronnie Houston.
Rocket choir members will come down to perform the song "America, America." Before our performance, Callie Connor will read a quote.
Our flag honors those who have fought to protect it and is a reminder of the sacrifice of our nation's founders in history and heroes. As a limited icon of American storied histories, the stars and stripes represent the very best of this nation. Still marching.
I would like to invite members of Rocket Choir Junior to come down to perform the next song. Rocket Choir Junior is a group of first and second grade students. Before their performance, Emma Haynes will come forward to read a poem. Once she is finished, Rocket Choir Junior will perform the Poppy Song.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing. Fly scarce amid the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw while sunlight glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep through poppies grow in Flanders fields. Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's all say thank you. We will all say thank you on a special day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's all say thank you. We will all say thank you on Veterans Day. You all fought so bravely to keep our country free. I'll wear a little poppy as red as red can be, to show that I remember those who fought for me. I will wear a red poppy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's all say thank you. We will all say thank you on a special day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's all say thank you. We will all say thank you on Veterans Day.
Rocket Choir will come down and perform the song, Lights of Freedom. Before our performance, Zoe Maddox will read a quote.
Our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undenying gratitude. America will never forget their sacrifices. President Harry S. Truman. The lights of freedom shine on our land, from sea to sea, from hand to hand. And when I look up, oh, I can see the lights of freedom shine
take a moment to thank you for coming out tonight to support these students. They've been doing an awesome job learning these songs and about why we celebrate Veterans Day. Again, thank you to everyone who has served our country or who is currently serving our country. We truly appreciate you. Our final selection is God Bless the USA. We hope you enjoy it.